Whoa.
Yes, I think most real artists are driven by some obsession. There's some, and there's
Or
almost
compulsion.
always, okay, yeah. And I was going to say, there's almost always some mental health issues at play, for sure. Every artist. I suffer from depression and anxiety myself. So I still don't understand why there's such a stigma about talking about this, but I talk about it as if I'm wearing a black t-shirt, which I am.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
the point is that, you know, that is a huge component of being an artist, is that, you know, I think our general mental state allows us to see things that a lot of other people just don't see. And as composers, I think it allows us to hear things or put things together in a way that many people just wouldn't hear it that way, you know, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah. Like it kind
Did I just spin your head around? I'm so sorry for that.
No, I'm actually also interested to hear what happened with the two directors who threatened to quit.
Well, so yeah, in Italy, where I live now, films get funded by government, which I think is like one of the worst ideas humanly possible, because most of government-sponsored art usually winds up being crap. Sorry, it just does. Because it's done through bureaucratic channels and political connections, you know, and it's just awful. It's just horrible. And for me, government has no place in the arts. Sorry, that's just my personal opinion.
No, yeah, it reminds me of propaganda is the risk there. It could end up.
Well, sure,
what message
exactly.
do we want to give the people?
Sure,
you know?
Sure, yeah. I forgot which band it was. Maybe Pink Floyd or another band. No. Oh yeah, The Jam, actually, one of my favorite British bands, The Jam. Anyway, the I think it was the drummer. I forgot his name. If it was Bruce Foxton, the bass player, and Rick, I forgot his last name. Anyway, the drummer from one of my favorite kind of alt bands from the 80s. You know, he sort of got into doing art and working with wood and sculpture. And, you know, he's from basically a town that I think is not terribly known for anything, really. And of course, you know, the town, you know, commissioned him for $80,000 or 80,000 pounds or something like that to make a sculpture to commemorate the band The Jam in the center of the town. And it's like, well, why? Why is that a good idea at all? Do you know what I'm saying?
Was this drummer? He was
band,
also
The Jam should be commemorated.
Yeah, the drummer
he was also the artist.
Yeah, he was a sculptor.
Yeah, he got into doing art installations or something. I don't know. I was reading it on Wikipedia, shaking my head going, oh my God, you know, because otherwise that never would have happened. And the point is, the music should be canonized. Truly, it is part of British canon as far as I'm concerned. The Jam is one of the most important British bands of all time, actually. Most people don't even know them, but they're amazing. Anyway, you know the Style Council? Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh, well, never mind. Moving on, right along. But the point is, yeah, so, you know, political art and what happened on this film. So in order for the production company to get funded, they have to have the people on the film sign this document basically saying that they did the film, that they were paid by the production company, that whatever, they approve the film. Artists have rights in Italy, right? So they invoke their rights and they said to the production company, we will not sign the film and then you will not get paid. So remove the music, give us the soundtrack we want. Now, here's the funniest bit. So I spent 8 months writing a feature film soundtrack, okay? And then I wrote the entire feature film soundtrack in a period of 3 or 4 days, just doing hipster shit, you know? They went crazy for it. I basically thought, like, I'll just do the most kind of idiotic, moronic, like I literally grabbed an ukulele and just went like this. Just like this. But then I put a digital delay and a reverb, and actually it sounded kind of good.
Yeah. I want to see this movie.
I sort of thought, like, what would be the most hipster thing I could do? And then I thought, a hang drum. You know what a hang drum is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought,
like a steel.
I'm going to use a hang drum, and I'm going to score a whole feature film with a hang drum and an ukulele. And I did it.
So you figured that's what they wanted. You kind of got into their
hipster
heads.
crap. Yeah, hipster crap. The thing is, I think I made good hipster crap, and maybe that's why they liked it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of making fun of it right now, but I mean, Italian directors in general are not known for their great use of music. Not now. They used to be masters, you know, Cinema Paradiso. And there's a classic example, by the way. If you know that film, Cinema Paradiso.
Yes.
Yeah. If you know the original cut of the movie, the theatrical cut, which was the producer's cut, by the way, they had final cut.
Okay.
That film is a masterpiece because the producers understood that unfulfillable longing is the most powerful sentiment that humans have. You know, this unfulfillable, this love that we once had that we can't ever find again. Right.
Yes. And that was meant to be driving his creativity, right? The force behind it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And then the moment at the end where he watches all the scenes of the kissing, like you just, if you're not crying in that scene, like you don't have a heart as far as I'm concerned. So such powerful cinema, such powerful use of music in cinema. Have you watched the director's cut, by the way?
Well, I don't know which cut I saw now, but I definitely saw the one you've just described. Is the other one different? The ending?
Well, yeah, there's like a 3-hour director's cut and it's rubbish. It's garbage. He finds her again. They have a whole thing. Why didn't you come to the fountain? And I was there and and this whole stupid argument as adults. And it's like, it was, and then they're together again, you know, and it's like, it's horrible. It's absolutely garbage.
Wow.
You know? So, and this is why sometimes producers understand better what will sell a movie. And Cinema Paradiso is a classic. And they teach it at Berklee College of Music film scoring department. That's where I learned about that film. And we studied it at Berklee.
Was it Nina Rota?
Ennio Morricone.
Morricone. Okay.
Morricone. Yeah. Close, but no cigar.
The other Italian guy, composer.
another Italian guy.
Right. Well, that's interesting because, you know, it's not a hard and fast rule that the director is it has the artistic vision, and then that means they must be right. They must know what's best for the film, and the producer is all about the money. You know, it's not necessarily the case in every case.
Well, that's right, actually, because in this case, my first feature film, there was the producers that understood what music was appropriate for the film, and it was amazing. Oh, what I wrote and how it worked in the film, it was amazing. It was really amazing. And it's a lost soundtrack. And so what can I do? I guess I could release it on iTunes. The original vision.
Well, yeah, you own that original music.
I certainly do.
The composer's cut.
Actually, I own all the rights to all the music, in fact. So I kept my rights, you know, because the payment was not so high because they're like, you know, we're going to help you move to Italy and, you know, we're going to give you a place to live. And, you know, so it was a chance because I always dreamed of living here. I always wanted to live in the birthplace of music. Italy is where music was born. Western music, obviously, it was born in this country. You know, everything that we know about music comes from Italy, right? From Guido di Arezzo writing it down for the first time.
Yes. Howard Goodall's documentaries are wonderful. Have you seen them?
I've seen some of them. Yeah, sure.
Anyway, that's how I heard about Guido.
Guido di Arezzo. But in Italy, it's pronounced a little differently. But anyway, so he started. I learned that in a history textbook. But
okay,
the documentary I liked of his was called "How Music Works," where he just explains like all the components of music. I thought that was lovely. But anyway, you know, the pianoforte was invented here. The first proper violin as we know it comes from here. Opera is from here, from Naples, right? The symphony, the actual symphony form comes from Italy.
Yeah.
Sonata and allegro form comes from Italy. So, I mean, a lot of things are from Italy, you know?
Yeah, Western music. Yeah.
So,
and do you find being there?
To live here.
Yeah, is being there, is it good for your creativity, being immersed in that or?
No, but it's good for my life. because I've never been happier than I am now.
Well, that's
So
good.
European life really, really suits me. When I think about living in Canada and the United States for, my first 45 years, I sort of I always dreamt of living in Europe. I always had this idea that somehow, I'm a very intense and emotional person. I don't know if you were able to tell that by now, but so I was always too intense. My whole life, everyone said, you're too intense, you're too emotional, you're too this. And here I'm just normal. So it's great.
You can be yourself and it's
just be me. I love it. I love it. It's great. So no, so I don't know that, life in Rome itself is, somehow good for my creativity. I don't think that's true at all. I think that you are the same person everywhere you go. I think that the place that which you live can absolutely affect the outcome of your life. And that's what's happened to me here in Italy, And so the way I interface with the world now is really quite different and is much better, in fact. So yeah, I think European life really suits me. Because I always felt I was born in the wrong time, in the wrong place. So here I'm a little closer to the 19th century here, which is where I think I should have been, but
yeah.
Anyway, did you ever see Midnight in Paris, the Woody Allen film?
I actually didn't. I lived in Paris for many years and I love Woody Allen's earlier movies, but I haven't
watch
seen
Midnight in Paris. I will not ruin anything by telling you this, but it's about this, person feeling like he's born in the wrong time and he wants to go back, and that he really wishes he could have lived, in Paris in the 1890s and so then magically, mystically, strangely at midnight, he's transported back to that time and he's so happy and he can't believe it. And he's watching all these amazing artists and then he meets a young woman and he's kind of falling in love with her or whatever. And she's like, oh, 1890 in Paris. I just hate it here. I really wish I could be in the 1750s. That's where I belong. And he's like, no. This is the grand irony of Woody Allen, Anyway, and the movie is all about these two characters. It's all about kind of you are who you are, where you are, and when you are. But I really believe that where where you physically live really changes the outcome of your life. Because I've lived in four major cities: Toronto, Boston, Los Angeles, and Rome. And my life was really different in each one of those phases. Really different, You
mean your life as a composer, as a creative?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, my life, right. Which affected the outcome of all of my music, Absolutely. But also remember, technology affected the outcome of my music as well. So a lot of this is the beautiful thing, right? But technology affected Beethoven's life because the double bass was relatively new in his time. It was new technology. He added trombones into the orchestra. Nobody put trombones in the orchestra. Eventually he was like, I'm going to add a whole choir into the orchestra. You can't do that. Yes, I can. I'm Beethoven. Run along.
Pushing the boundaries. Yeah.